Hello Virgo, this is your September 1st to September 15th, 2016 read. For the main read, I'm using the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pumunla. And for the advice cards, I'm using the Romance Angel Oracle deck by Doreen Virtue. Decks have been pre-shuffled, let's get right into it. Actually, we're going to do that. Okay, good. Alright, when we start out, typically I do the advice cards at the end. I was really pulled, in fact, I'm actually pulled to pull them all out right now. Okay, I usually wait till after, but for some reason I have the need to pull them out now. And one of the reasons I had the need to pull them out now is the first card I wanted to pull was an advice card for the crowning energy for your whole read, which is getting to know each other. So I feel like it's more than a social time. I feel like there might be a little giddiness going on here. I'm also seeing this card come up with it, because I was doing a tarot card for the overall energy to match with it, which it says about the same things to me. This makes me think that there's been more thought into this get-together. Whoever, I feel like it's a social scene. I feel like you're getting involved in a social scene and you're watching and trying to figure out where you fit in, but also being a part of it. I feel like it's a new situation, whether it be work or school or something along those lines. Excuse me. If you've just started a relationship and you're getting to know that person's family, that type of thing. Because I feel like these people, like, you want to impress them, you want to get along with the group, and you want to be an important part of that group. And I feel like you're watching and you're seeing the value of the people in the group and you're seeing how you fit in. I feel like you bring a lot to the table and you're aware of that. So we're going in a good direction here starting for the September 1st time frame, which is actually quite fitting for Virgo because we're in your sign. So everything's good for you. That's great. In fact, when we start right in here, now that I'm thinking of it, we got an Earth sign card, King of Pentacles, September 1st, being in your element, moving forward confidently, having set plans, working on those plans, actually things already in motion. I feel like as we go into this social structure, I don't feel like it's like a new thing, but I feel like it's the next step. It's the next level. We're going up. We're finding out what we like and where we fit. And like I said, in this social structure, you want to fit. And it's a good thing. Like, you want to, I don't feel like you're trying to be someone else. I feel like you're trying to see where your strengths fit in. And you're seeing where you fit in because you bring a lot to the table. And you're seeing where, you know, it works well. Like, you're a piece, you already fit well, not a big deal. And as we go to the September 1st, you're in your element. It's great. It's very interesting because as we go along your line, this card is close to the King of Pentacles. So, like, near that first week of September 1st, going into, like, the next 7-8 days, we got, actually, it goes this way, I apologize. We got the Five of Cups, which I feel like when I'm looking at this, you're remembering things that have changed. I feel like it's, like, realizing situations have changed. Looking back on the past, not as, I don't feel like it's, like, regret or anything like that. I feel like just, like, how things have changed. I feel like you're more observant to, like, how things are changing, what things are on the horizon. Things that have passed or have gone out of date, I feel like you don't really regret. I feel like you recognize that it was time to move to the next level. And it's, like, almost like a piece of you has changed from the past, and you're, like, looking back, kind of like, I'm no longer that person. I'm actually evolving to this next level, and other things are more important to me now, and I want to be a part of this situation. Again, I'm not seeing regret. I'm more seeing, like, an acknowledgement that things are going to the next level. And these two cards are close, which I feel like this acknowledgement goes on for the majority. Like, it's kind of coupled with the King of Pentacles, and I feel like this energy goes through the September 1st. I'm feeling probably until we leave Virgo, you're going to kind of have this. You might even have already had this by time, like, when Leo goes into Virgo, you might be more feeling this already. And the reason I'm saying that is because usually I do 4 cards, but they kind of skipped a space, and this one's coming up near the 15th, and I feel like this is closer to the 20th the more I'm getting it. It seems like it's more going past the 15th over towards the 20th, like maybe the 18th-ish, that type of frame, where you actually make some changes. And I feel like some things aren't what you expect, and you may not be happy with them, but a lot of it does go your way. A lot of restructuring around that time frame. I feel like as we leave the Virgo time frame, things might just change a little, or things you were viewing in one light, as you've gotten deeper into the situation, you're realizing, you know what, I thought this is what was happening, but I've just seen flat-out evidence that that's not the case for this person, and maybe that person as well. So as you go forward, I'm thinking more around the 18th to 20th, like out of the Virgo time frame. Just give yourself a little more leeway to settle in, because I feel like as you're starting in, or as you're in the Virgo time frame, you're feeling very confident, things are the way you think they are, you're planning to go forward a certain way based on the things you're seeing. And I really feel like this energy near the 18th to 20th is just some things weren't as they seemed. Some things maybe weren't as polished or as honest as you needed them to be to really make that view of the future. And when you realize that, I think it's just more of an upset, like, oh, I thought this was square peg. It's kind of an oval with some funny corners on it. So where do I put this? That type of thing. Like, not bad, just like, I didn't expect that. That's not how I thought this was going to go. Crowning that same time frame near the end, the 18th to 20th, and I really feel like that's the most important part of this for you, trust. Now, I feel like this is saying trust that you fit, trust that it'll work out, trust that just give it some time and let these pieces readjust and find some different angles for them. Things are going to work out. I feel like it's just going to be kind of like a little off-putting when you kind of looked at the situation and you're like, I thought we were all being honest and telling what we knew. And it's not that they weren't being honest, it's just they weren't as forerunning, what's the word I want to say here? They weren't putting out as much, they weren't being as open as you were at in the beginning or to the Virgo time frame. And as it goes into Libra, it may change a little bit. And I almost feel like you might kind of just go with the flow as it happens, but it still may be a little underlyingly kind of like, this isn't what I thought. And it just kind of a little offsetting to your plans. Again, the majority of your Virgo time frame, even like before the September 1st, all the way up to about the 18th, 20th, is you kind of like acknowledging the change of who you were, who you're going to be, things changing around you, social structures changing, your spot, making more sense to you. Moreover, you're fitting in where you want to. It may have been a situation where you weren't sure if you really wanted to be in the situation, and recently you found that you do, and you're kind of like, through this time frame, like watching and melding in, just getting a feel for how things are for you. I feel like you're very happy, though. I feel like this is a good time frame. Just near the end, you need to just keep in stock that you may not be seeing people the way they really are, or they may be putting up like their best front. I think that's a great way to put it. They're putting out their best china, their best foot forward. They want to make a good impression with you just as much as you with them. Like, I feel like it's a symbiotic relationship in that sense. And as the weeks go on, like, who they really are comes to light, which isn't bad, but like, you can only put up a false face for so long. I mean, it's kind of like wearing your good clothes to Sunday school or Sunday or whatever. I don't go to church like that anymore. But still, when I did, like, you have to wear a certain thing, like, you have to look good. But, afterwards, if you're outside playing or something like that, it was only a matter of time before the clothes got dirty. So, I mean, we all have things. I'm noticing in the beginning of the time frame, again, above the King of Pentacles for you, like the passion. This card translates to me that you're very passionate about this social structure. You're very into it. You are not halfway. You are ready to go. You're happy about it. You feel great about it. Again, that's why the change is acknowledged and not regretted, because you're happy about where you are. Now, around you, I'm getting a little interesting information here. Because, like I said, people are giving their best foot forward. I feel like people, like, I'm seeing, like, the King, or the Knight of Wands, like, this can be movement, this can be action. I feel like there's a lot going on, but I'm noticing it's a little dropped below the environmental factors here, which makes me feel like it's around the people, around this social structure. I don't feel like the social structure has a lot of movement, but I feel like almost like in the sense when you're adding into it, they feel like it's a good energy, and they're trying to keep up in a sense. I get like the thought of keeping up with the Kardashians, like trying to keep up with, like, I feel like they're viewing you on a pedestal, like they think the world of you. However you're coming into this social structure, I feel like you have a very good reputation and a very high opinion of who you are, and I feel like you keep that up. I don't feel like it's false. I just feel like there's certain values and morals you keep in check, and as you portray that to others, that's something you keep. That's not something you're putting up a front about, but that's something you do. I'm not saying that you're perfect, just saying that this is one of those things that people admire about you, and they see it quite clearly for whatever reason. I feel like you've been talked up very well, but very honestly at the same time. And I feel like, especially the people putting their good foot forward first, or giving that good face, you know what I mean, trying to put their best out there. I feel like they're feeling a little overwhelmed, and like they don't know if they can meet your standards. I feel like that might be happening there. I don't think you're going to see it that way, because I think you view them as a great group, and to you it's just like, I have certain morals and values, and this meshes with them quite well. I feel like some of them aren't as dedicated or as close to it as you are, and they're trying to either emulate that or trying to at least, you know, show their good traits, like trying to highlight their good traits and like ignore their bad ones. For example, if you have great planning skills and maybe they don't, they either will skip around it, or they'll give examples where they've done that successfully, although it may not be that often they do so. Alright, so I'm looking at this reading here, and I think the whole thing is, like, Virgo, and I'm thinking because it's your birth sign, this is your time, this time frame is great for you. As you're leaving it, I wouldn't be nervous about it. Like, when you go, like, I'm getting 18th to 20th for this part. As you're leaving it, just keep in mind that some people are just trying to impress you and get your approval just as much as you're trying to get theirs. I just feel like yours is kind of based on who you are and just things that you naturally do. And I think the other people are like impressed by you and trying to emulate the same so that you'll like them as well. And it's just not meshing at first. But as we move into the 18th to 20th, you're going to see how they really work. Like maybe a little bit of disorganization, a little bit of spendthrifty in some of them, something like that, and something that you have under control but they don't, something you have in control in your life and they don't in theirs. And it might just kind of like, well, that wasn't really what I thought it was, so what else isn't what I think it is kind of how I'm thinking it's going to hit you. But just keep in mind, just trust, this is a good group, you're going to fit in. Just give it some leeway, let people kind of divulge who they are slowly. I feel like you're okay with waiting and going the long haul. I just think that it's kind of like an abrupt, like, oh, like I feel like it's an abrupt thing, like as we switch from like the 18th to 20th, like we switch, I feel like there's some type of upset in the air, and they just kind of, who they really are kind of comes to light. Not a bad thing, just not what you thought, and as you go forward in the next few months, you'll get more comfortable with that. Alright, any questions or comments, go ahead and leave those below. Of course, if you would like a reading from me, a personal read, of course, go ahead and shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com, James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you very much.